any weight loss blogs or been on YouTube recently, you've probably come across the term intermittent fasting. Today, we're going to answer, what is intermittent fasting? How does it work? And how can it help you to lose weight? Fasting is not a new thing. It has been used for centuries in pretty much every civilization like Incas or ancient Greeks for the same purpose, simply to cleanse the body and mind. You see, there are many forms of fasting. One of them is fasting for religious purposes, where you are not supposed to eat meat. There is water fasting, where you can't eat anything but can drink liquids. Also, there is dry fasting, which is based on excluding any food and liquids for a day or two. Of course, there are many more options of fasting, but these are the three most popular. But what about intermittent fasting? How is it different? The main difference is that intermittent fasting precisely tells you when you can and cannot eat during a day. Intermittent fasting is not a diet, it's simply a style of eating. We start at one period of the day and end by the other. But can we really lose fat and maybe gain some muscles along the way? Well, it depends. If we stick to the following rules, we can almost guarantee that you will lose weight and stay healthy. Here's a fact. When the body is truly healthy, there is no reason for it to gain fat. You see, our bodies need to have some percentage of fat in order to function properly. Naturally, women have a slightly higher percentage of fat than men. Having more fat than normal is just a signal that something is wrong inside the body. Maybe the way you eat, the way you live, or both. Intermittent fasting is more beneficial than simple caloric deficit because after a long period of time, it triggers autophagy, a self-repairing mechanism proven by Nobel Prize winner Yoshinori Ishimis. All damaged parts are recycled into new raw material that is used for rebuilding tissue and cells. It's anti-aging, cardioprotective, and neuroprotective. It boosts your immune system because it can take all viruses, fungus, bacteria, and turn it into new fresh building blocks. By having your immune system high, balanced hormones, and blood sugar in control, which intermittent fasting provides, you'll have a more focused mind, higher levels of concentration, and better orientation, even a better quality of sleep, and you'll wake up more energized without the alarm clock. The only way to get rid of fat and stay shredded is to keep the blood sugar and insulin level low. Insulin is a hormone that triggers when the blood sugar is high, and this happens when we eat. The point of intermittent fasting is to restrict food intake for several hours to keep the insulin level low so the body can utilize stored fat as the energy source. The only way to make sure the insulin level is low is to stop eating at around 8 p.m. and fast until tomorrow around noon. By keeping the insulin low, we are making a path for the human growth hormone to do its job. This will repair all the damages made by the workouts and everyday tasks, such as walking or sitting in a chair, and even breathing. Another important thing is to fall asleep at least 1 hour before midnight. Ideally, you should sleep in complete darkness as early as possible. Otherwise, stress levels in the body will rise and block the release of the growth hormone. For the body to start producing the growth hormone, it has to produce melatonin. And in order to initiate the production of melatonin, our body needs to have a low level of cortisol, the stress hormone, and a low level of insulin. But can we eat anytime we want in that 8-hour window? Absolutely not. Snacks between meals and nibbling food is not allowed. The reason is to keep the insulin as low as possible, even in that 8-hour window when you are allowed to eat. An ideal eating schedule would be to eat 3 medium meals every 4 hours. That means at 12 p.m., 4 p.m., and 8 p.m. When you get used to this eating schedule, you can go one step further and divide all the food that you have to eat into 2 big meals. First at 12 p.m. and the second between 4 or 5 p.m. The reason is to have one insulin spike less during a day. That means more time for burning fat. If you are looking for greater results, that is to burn fat and look lean, then you must include at least 3 workouts per week, ideally 5, 3 strength and 2 cardio workouts. When doing strength training, make sure to bring muscles to the state of failure or very close to failure, meaning that you can't do any more repetitions. Otherwise, you will be only performing simple muscle movements. Blood will rush in the muscles, but the needed damage won't happen. You need to damage the muscle fibers in order to grow. Bigger muscles mean more burned calories during a workout. If you're a female, don't worry. No matter how much you train, because of a much smaller percentage of testosterone and a high level of estrogen, you won't look muscular. But if you eat much more than what your body requires, you will bulk up. As for exercises that you should perform, knee push-ups, bar rowing, squats, jumps, or lunges will do the work. As for cardio, our suggestion is to stick with jumping rope. Only 10 minutes of rope jumping can burn around 150 calories. Remember to keep it as simple as possible and try to make progress every week. Best time for doing a workout is 1 hour before starting with the first meal. And don't worry about not having enough energy for exercising, because you'll have plenty of energy from good carbohydrates stored in the liver and muscles. If you train during the 8-hour eating window, you will disturb your digestion. You see, the stress hormone will increase during a workout, and the only way to lower the cortisol level is to eat in the first 10 to 20 minutes after finishing the workout. Remember that we recommended eating your first meal at 12 p.m.? Well, that is actually just in time when you'll finish the workout that you started around 11 a.m. Having high levels of stress after a workout means that exercising late at night, after the 8-hour eating window, should also be avoided. The same would happen if you choose to work out early in the morning. If cortisol is not lowered down after a workout, even if you eat later, it would still be high, which would lead to catabolism, a state where the body is self-decomposing to overcome the damaged tissue. The only way that the body can survive self-decomposing is to store more fat. Now that you know when to exercise, let's take a look at what to eat during intermittent fasting. First and foremost, try to avoid everything that is unhealthy, like processed sugar such as candy, chocolate, carbonated drinks, alcohol, deep-fried meat, or any other processed food. These foods are linked to all kinds of diseases: allergies, frequent headaches, flu, dizziness, disorientation, depression, imbalanced hormones, insomnia, constipation, and obesity. All these consequences are the result of having a lack of vitamins and minerals, good fats, carbohydrates, and water in the body. Keep it simple and clean. At the beginning of your intermittent fasting journey, 3 simple meals will do the trick. Divide the plate into 3 parts: 1/3 for the main dish, 1/3 for legumes, meat or fish, and the third part is for salad. For the main dish, go with complex carbohydrates with a low glycemic index. For example, quinoa or buckwheat. You can also make bread from these flours, but avoid white flour because it keeps insulin level high for a longer period of time. If you are more plant-based, legumes are a great source of protein, such as chickpeas, beans, peas, or lentils. Just make sure to boil them several times in water to soften its membrane. This will avoid bloating and, well, unfortunate situations. As for meat lovers, there is no mistake whichever meat you choose. The best and the simplest way to prepare any meat is to put it in an oven and cook it in its own juice. The more salad, the better. Get used to eating greens like spinach, celery, green salad, green peppers, cucumbers, or parsley leaf. To add more healthy fats and flavor to the salad, add coconut oil, sunflower, or sesame, pumpkin, or olive oil. If you find it hard to eat a main dish without any delicious sauces and other unhealthy artificial sweeteners, then you can make dense soup, for example, of cabbage, carrots, onions, and such. Sounds yucky, but with the right recipe, this will make any meal more delicious and more healthy. With your first meal, along with the mentioned plate, as a dessert if you will, eat a few fruits like banana, orange, and apple. With the second meal, take 1 palm of nuts. And with the third meal, take 1 cup of mixed berries. After a few weeks, when you get more experienced and used to this style of eating, switch to 2 meals. You can do this simply by taking the third meal and dividing the plate equally into the first 2 meals. These foods are all low in calories. Even if you're doing intermittent fasting, you have to be in a slight caloric deficit. Otherwise, if you are in a calorie surplus, there is no chance that you'll ever get rid of fat. So, what can we drink during those 16 hours of fasting? Most importantly, drink large amounts of water and stay hydrated all day. Besides water, you can drink black coffee and green or black tea without any added extras like milk or sugar. If you drink other caloric beverages, anything that has even 1 calorie of extra energy will break the fast and stop the whole progress. Stay in this mode of fat burning as long as possible. If intermittent fasting is interrupted during the week, you will confuse the metabolism, which will stop the fat burning process. So if you don't follow the rules correctly, not only will you gain back the fat you lost, but you'll also add a couple of extra pounds on top of the weight you started with. If you don't eat complete meals that we recommended earlier, then you might run into a risk of hormonal disbalance. For example, if you eat less than 100 grams of good carbs a day, or if less than 25% of the total caloric consumption comes from fat. It's very important to eat every day in the same way, but not the same food. You need to be constant. That means no meal skipping, no cakes or treats, or anything similar. You have all the nutrients that your body needs to function properly and to lose weight. Anything more than that will lead to a disaster. To see meaningful results, you have to stick to this regimen of eating even on the weekends. If you follow these rules, it's almost guaranteed that you'll shed fat very fast without worrying if it will ever come back. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more health and weight loss tips.